Republican lawmaker Marjorie Taylor Greene was told to stop repeating Putin's propaganda after she contested a $40 billion, £32 4 aid package for Ukraine on Tuesday, claiming that the Biden administration was using this to cover up its crimes. The bill would provide Ukraine military and economic assistance, replenish weapons the Pentagon has shipped overseas, and provide $5 billion to address global food shortages. As members of the U.S. House of Representatives began debating the aid package, Ms. Greene said, $40 billion, but there's no baby formula for American mothers and babies. An unknown amount of money to the CIA and Ukraine supplemental bill, but there's no formula for American babies, she added. Stop funding regime change and money laundering scams. A U.S. politician covers up their crimes in countries like Ukraine. However, her remarks were criticized by Democrat lawmaker Jamie Raskin, who asked her to not parrot the propaganda of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy: repeating Putin's propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations, the Maryland District Representative said in the House in response to Ms. Greene. On Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed the bill, clearing Washington's legal hurdle to deliver more aid to Ukraine. The House passed the legislation with 219 Democrats and 149 Republicans voting in favor. Only 2 Democrats did not vote for the legislation at all, but 57 Republicans, including Ms. Greene, voted against it. It will now be sent to the Senate before it can be signed into law by President Joe Biden. This is not the first time Mr. Raskin has served a rebuttal to the Republican leader for following former President Donald Trump's sickening appeasement of Vladimir Putin and blaming Ukraine for the conflict in the European nation. He cited her in the House last month. She said, "You see, Ukraine just kept poking the bear, which is Russia, and Russia invaded Ukraine. There is no one for Ukraine here. Russia is successful in this invasion. We have members of Congress who are cheerleaders for Vladimir Putin and are voices of nothing but defeatism, fatalism and pessimism for democracy in Europe," he had said at the time, adding that a handful of Republicans were trying to distract us with a lot of phony rhetoric about other issues. She also said, NATO has been supplying the neo-Nazis in Ukraine with powerful weapons and extensive training on how to use them. What the hell is going on with these #NATO Nazis? He added. Bringing up the Second World War, Mr. Raskin asked the representatives in the House to decide which side they were on. When Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt and the Americans looked at what was happening in Europe during Second World War, when they saw Nazis marching down the street, they did not see very fine people on both sides of the street, he said. They did not start cheerleading for Mussolini and Hitler and Franco. And yet we have people here who go out and speak on the side of Vladimir Putin and on the side of Russia. A U.S. Navy veteran was filmed personally accusing Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of disparaging the military and other groups, calling the Republican Congresswoman a shame. The confrontation was caught on camera by WTVC at a campaign event on Monday in Tryon, Georgia. The veteran, Alex Boyle, was incensed over some of Ms. Greene's past comments, and directly challenged her on them. "You are disrespecting the United States Congress and you're a shame," Mr. Boyle told the Congresswoman. "No, sir," Ms. Greene calmly responded. The tense exchange began when Mr. Boyle asked the Georgia Republican to explain a controversial remark she made last month about military service. "I know a lot of young people don't want to have anything to do with that," Ms. Greene told former Fox News host Lou Dobbs on his podcast. "It's like throwing your life away." On Monday, Mr. Boyle asked the Congresswoman what she meant. When Ms. Greene responded with a litany of complaints about the Biden administration, Mr. Boyle was not satisfied. "Wait a minute," he interjected. "That has nothing to do with my service." Ms. Greene responded that the veteran had his facts twisted. "No, I haven't," he shot back. "I heard what you said, I've read the texts. Here's the problem, you've cast disparaging things against the Jewish community, You suggested a space laser. No, sir, I have not, Ms. Greene replied, as a gaggle of her supporters began to chime in as well. Mr. Boyle was referring to some of Ms. Greene's social media posts, one of which pushed a conspiracy theory about space lasers causing forest fires. In 2021, anger over the posts led the House of Representatives to strip her of her committee assignments. On Monday, Mr. Boyle said he'd had enough. I'm really horribly saddened that the 14th District has gone to such craziness, the veteran said. I just did my primary vote, and I look forward to maybe one of your challengers seeing you in a runoff,